party people, welcome back to our channel. So for this series, we're gonna do a short video on hip opening. So we've done in other videos leg stretches and what have you, but this we're gonna do maybe 15 minutes, hopefully under 15 minutes of just hip openers to prepare us, you know, if we're gonna go for a run, if we need to warm up before we do a more intense flow, or if you want to add this onto the end of your practice, stretching out afterwards. But I love hip openers, so we'll balance it out. We'll do hip openers and hip closers. So I call them hip closers. That's not really a thing. I made it up. So we're going to start palms of our feet together. We're going to sit up nice and tall, cobbler's pose. Take a deep breath in, drop the shoulders down and away from the ears, and we're gonna exhale and fold at the hips out over our feet. And our feet will press into each other and open up the inside groin area. So we're just stretching over as far as we feel comfortable here. This is a great pose to be able to adjust the intensity. Walk your hands closer or farther away from you. You can bring your feet closer to the body or farther away. Very customizable. So we'll do a deep breath in here. Exhale, see if you can tiptoe your fingers out just a little bit farther. Deep breath in. Exhale, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then we'll walk our hands back, sit up nice and tall, and we're going to move right into child's pose. So we'll come up onto our knees. We want our big toes together, and here you can bring your knees farther apart or closer together, just depending on where you want that stretch to sit. So I like my knees farther apart. Let's both, like there's two of us. Let's all go ahead and start nice and wide. Knees to the outside edge of your mat. Shift your hips back, bum to heels, and then you can either stretch your arms out in front. We've got our face as close to the mat as we feel comfortable. Or you can swoop your arms around to either side of your shins and do it that way. I always like to have my arms extended, but everybody's practice is different. This is your practice too. So we're just gonna sit here, and you'll slowly sink deeper and deeper into this position, just with gravity pulling on your tush. Bringing it towards the mat. Deep breath in. There's lots of room for the belly to expand here. Deep breath in. And if you want to make this a multitasking pose, you can bring your hands together and bring them up per position over your head, and that'll stretch out the tops of the arms, the backs of the arms, shoulders a little bit. But what we really want to focus on here is relaxing into a deep hip opening stretch. We'll take another couple deep breaths in. Last deep breath in. And as we exhale, we're going to come up into a tabletop position, resituate our knees underneath our hips, hands underneath our shoulders. Deep breath in here, and from here we're going to move into pigeon pose. So walk your hands out just a little bit. Deep breath in. We're going to bring our right knee up between our hands and maybe a little closer to our right wrist, and then drop it down. So we've got our left foot across in front of us. Use your right foot. Right foot? Did I say right foot? Who knows? Left foot inches back, and we're sitting back into glute stretch, hip stretch. There's a lot of stretching going on here on both sides. So we're stretching the front of the left hip, back of the right leg, back of the glute. You'll feel it in your hamstring. Deep breath in. What we really want to focus on here is keeping our hips straight up with the front of our mat. So we're square and we're centered, and we can balance here without shifting and falling over. We want to stay very squared up here, otherwise your stretch is going to get all askew and you're going to tweak something. So we want to stay very centered, and there are lots of variations here, but that's another video. So we're going to take a deep breath in and exhale. I guess that could be my next video, just all of the pigeon variations. But I want this to be a little more rounded. Another deep breath in here. And exhale. And again, just like with any other pose, the longer you sit here, the deeper into the pose you will sink. And I say sink a lot of times specifically because of the influence of gravity. So gravity is pulling on you, you're relaxing, and slowly you're going deeper into that pose. We're going to take one more deep breath in here. And as we exhale, let's slide our right knee back. And now we're going to move into a close knee child's pose. So our knees are still directly under our hips, and we're pushing back into child's pose. And this is going to feel like a hip reset. So it feels, you'll notice it feels different than when our knees were out wide on the mat earlier. Now they're close together. And this is what I refer to as a hip closer. So we're sort of countering that movement that we were just doing. So feel free to, kind of wiggle side to side here. Deep breath in. Exhale back up to our tabletop position. And then again, we're going to walk our hands out. We're going to bring our left knee up around to our left wrist. Left foot is across the body, and we're using right foot to inch us back and slowly lower us down into our pigeon pose. So we can be set up a little bit taller on our fingertips. We can come down on our hands a little bit here. But we just want to slowly sink in here. Deep breath in. And you'll feel when you're centered up, straight up at the front of your mat, stretch through the front of the right hip and then all through the back of the left leg. Deep breath in. I always wonder if the microphone picks up my tummy gurgles. When my tummy is empty and I breathe, it makes gurgle sounds. In case the mic is picking it up, I guess we'll know in post. Deep breath in. Slow, controlled exhale. In through the nose, out through the mouth. We're sinking in here. Deep breath in. And while you're here, you can sort of play with the amount of pressure, I'll say, that you want to have on yourself, so you can totally take your arms out of the equation or use them to relieve a little bit of that intensity. And we'll take one more breath here. And as we exhale, we're going to bring the left knee back, right underneath the hip. I keep scooting back towards my mat. And a close knee, child's pose, hip reset. Wiggle around a little bit if you need to, side to side. Deep breath in. And then we'll come back up into tabletop, swing it around onto our booties. And for our final hip posers, knee, and we're gonna hug the right knee in. Deep breath in. Exhale. So another thing you can do here, hold on to that right knee with the left arm, and you can open up. Swing the right arm back, open up to the right side. A little bit of a twist. Or you can just stay here and hug it in. Deep breath in. And then we can also move into a cradle the baby, rock the baby situation, where we've got right foot in left elbow. And now we're rocking that baby. Rock that baby. This is also really good to examine yourself for a pedicure. Since the nail salons aren't open, maybe some of us are getting a little wild in our toenail areas. Okay, we're gonna let that right foot go. We're gonna bring the left foot to the other side of right knee. We're gonna hug it in. Hug it in, hug it in. And then if you wanna do that hooking of the right arm around the left knee, left arm comes back, open up to the left side. You can do that. Or you can keep it here for a nice hug in. And then we're going to shift it left foot to right, crook. We're going to rock the baby here. Deep breath. Rock it out. I wonder how long this video is. I need like a clock in here, I guess. And there you go.